Now let's turn to Ghana, which is selling the longest-dated Eurobond ever issued by a sub-Saharan African government. It has a 40-year maturity and is part of a wider sale, including notes maturing in 2035 and 2027, in order to raise $3 billion. To talk more about this, we're joined by Ken Ofori-Atta, the Finance Minister of Ghana. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, It's good to be here again.
Yeah, great to have you here. Now, this offer, the Eurobond offer, was 5 times oversubscribed. Does this mean that you're going to continue to test demand and issue even more longer-term securities? The last time you were here, we talked about a century bond.
We did talk about a century bond, and last year we tried a 31, which was very successful. We've moved 10 years more to 41. So we are nearing it. I think yesterday it was very successful, $3 billion in 3 tranches, 7, 14, and 41. And we had a 15 billion book to work with. So clearly the markets have rallied in support of Ghana post-IMF, and that's good indications for the future for us.
Minister, good morning to you. Good to have you with us this morning. Can I ask you the complexion of where most of the demand came from in that $15 billion book?
We on the 7-year we had about 3.5 billion. On the 14-year, about 5.6, and on the 41-year also beyond 5 billion. So really good showing on the long end of the bond.
Yeah, I mean, this comes at a time as well when the premium investors have asked to hold riskier assets is rising, in part because of the fallout from the coronavirus. Do you foresee, if we get any more of concerns around the coronavirus outbreak, that this could impact you issuing more bonds, or how you think about that?
Well, we're not going to come back until next year. But yeah, we had those jitters, and we clearly went through that. I think clearly for Africa, the commodities issue will be impacted. I mean, coffee is down some 20%, copper is about 9% or so, and then, of course, crude oil is about 17%. But clearly, the market was looking for a Ghana paper, confident in the future. So we are quite comfortable that, at least for the continent,
Minister,
this is a paper to hold.
Can I ask you, you've just outlined some of the big commodities which are a tour de force in your income, and that's got issues around your debt to GDP. I mean, if we look at what the IMF, they warned against debt to GDP at 63% at the end of 2019, against 59% a year earlier. Is that going to get worse, given the commodity outlook that we're facing at the moment? Can we expect this debt to GDP ratio to rise rather than fall this year?
Actually, you know, what we have with the IMF is that we had 2 specific issues, which is the financial sector restructuring, which we had to pay for, and then the energy sector restructuring. So if you net that out, we were around 58% or so of debt to GDP. But the key to all of this is really the export boost that we are expecting. And this will be outside of commodity. If you look at our non-oil contribution, that's about 5.4% growth compared to the oil growth. So we have a much more diversified economy than most, and we expect to do that. As you know, the Continental Free Trade Act headquarters is going to be in Ghana, which means we are really going to be the pass-through for investment and trade into the future. And we are banking on Ghana becoming a regional hub with regards to financial services, aviation and logistics, trade, etc. So really, for us, once we get through the rigidities and debt reprofiling, we are confident that with increase in revenue and exports in other areas, we should do very well.
On the banking sector cleanup, which you mentioned, you know, those sort of costs risk surging to about $3.5 billion. That's the number that we've put out there. Do you see this escalating further? And if it does, are you going to issue more bonds to cover those new guarantees for depositors?
It was total in Ghanaian cedis about 16.8 billion. We've already done about 12.6 billion, leaving maybe about $1 billion in change, which we should be able to support so that we take care of all the other depositors. But I think so far we have held, and we should be able to manage that. Yeah.
There were plans, Minister, to IPO the gold mining royalty fund, and I think the last time we wrote about it, it was delayed until March. Can you clarify for us, will it happen in March? Is it postponed indefinitely? What guidance can you give us?
Oh, I think we've made considerable progress, and we'll have some more meetings before I leave tomorrow. But we are confident, and we are targeting March for the IPO, $750 million, which will further go to strengthen our foreign exchange reserves and also diversify the economy into a more modern economy and take advantage of our branding as the largest gold exporter on the continent at this point.
Can I come back to the 58% debt to GDP ratio that you mentioned as well? Is that a level that you're now comfortable with, or do you want to bring that down even further? And how do you plan to do so? And where's the floor for you?
Right. No, we look to bring that down at 58%. Currently, our domestic revenue mobilization, it's where we need to concentrate. We've changed the whole executives of the Ghana Revenue Authority, and these last 3 months through December was phenomenal results. Ghana currently is about 12.5% revenue to GDP compared to our peers who are about 18%. So clearly you can see this gap of 6% that we need to bridge. We are just about completing our national identification drive, which means that we'll all be on a database, and that expectation is that the tax base will be broadened and we should be able to get the 6%. An increase in 6% will be another 22 billion, which really moves towards being able to support our infrastructure drive and therefore relying less on debt.